the NGO won't watch. So, social media is very popular at that time.
29th of December 20.
Lagos. I compromise those individuals by little envelope. I with an envelope. I with an envelope. Because I don't those events. It's like an amending approach. I got on a phone, I can send you a text message. So, honey, and I can make a virgin, I can imagine. Because I'm on the money, I do that. So, to that extent, I align myself with the lecture. I get of more Gabarani by change of heart, change of attitude, and to appreciate what God, the grace and the delight God through lecture. Because all that constitution of 2003 delivered by Chief Omenife under his leadership, Oya na guide and Oya with Rayeba. So to that extent, I want to say Jishinike and the happy lecture. We don't know.
Igwe, okay. We've had him. Let's give him audience to attend other functions because Igwe.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Firstly, thanks. We ask you to stay with all of us. We say thank you, thank you. We say thank you for all of you. Thank you, all of us that are here.
Igwe Godwin Nnaemeka Obiora.
All right. As we can see, I said earlier that those of us that are here are going to have multiple respect. I want us to say that tomorrow we are going to unveil this. Much of what we say here is in this nation. So make sure that you get the show to do. All of them are here. We are going to go into the next lecture, which will be presented by Ofala Lecture.
Thank you.
Traditional institutions.
You can't get to that.
We will capture what you don't know before. And as we said, don't forget that this is screen live through Weke Ifeanyi Green Brain Power. Go to the Facebook, Weke Ifeanyi Green Brain Power. You will see it live. I want to go, sir. Come.
Ikanga, Achina, Udora G. My co-speaker, Dr. Choba. the Publicity Secretary, Chairman, Ofala Organizing Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the last two speakers, you will be wondering who was the second speaker. Who was the second speaker? Igwe. Igwe was the second speaker because he has virtually delved into the things I want to say while the first speaker gave the background. The only thing that is left unsaid is the ugly side which Igwe mentioned. Igwe mentioned the ugly side of chieftaincy in Achina, and that is the area I want to talk about so that we don't go back to Egypt. Some of you hear too many semantics. I don't know how many of you who know about Eze. How many of you know about that? That's right, Eze. Good. Today I will tell you the origin and how it came about. How many have heard about EDM? Who knows what EDM is? EDM, nobody from the floor? You see? Huh? Yeah, what is EDM? Embele Development Movement. Again, I'm going to tell you how those things came about because those were the component wearing factions born out of a crisis that tore the town apart. So I wouldn't bother to start saying what my earlier speakers have said for many reasons. I can't see. Officer Mali told me you are getting me light. I cannot see anymore, but I will try to do some highlights. Now, there's a popular saying that Igwe Eze. Igwe Eze, what does that mean? Nandi Igwe Eze, is that true? It's not true. Like Achina said, from beginning, the Igbos have organized system of governance. The only thing is that we don't call them Igwe or Eze. But even at that, some sections of Igbo land, like Nri, have their traditional institution older than the colonial masters. True or false? Yes. Even Onisha here, even Arochukwu, they all have very old traditional institutions. So it is wrong to generalize to say that Igwe Eze. That language came as a result of the fact that before the colonial masters came, it was easy for them to key into the emirate system in the north to govern the people. It was equally easy for them to key into the authorship system in the west to govern the people. But when they came to the east, there was no such organized structure. They couldn't find any of those. You know what they did? They now introduced their indirect rule. In other words, what that means is that if they come to Achina, they will look for a popular person in Achina and make him a warrant chief and use him to suppress his people. Do you not know what warrant chief is all about? Yes, the person has no pedigree. The only pedigree you have is that, oh, you're a violent person, you can intimidate everybody, you can do whatever they ask you to do. That was the qualification. No background of family heritage. That is why the warrant chiefs that we are using in the East, we are all terrible people. Terrible people. They can see a lady and like them and point their finger. That person, just by pointing at lady, she becomes their wife. No bride price, no nothing. And if you are lucky to marry a beautiful wife, they can take your wife from the market from you. They did all those things because they were bigger than the institution that created them. So in the East, there were warrant chiefs, and the era of warrant chiefs continued until a little before the war. In 1954, precisely, when the when Nigeria's independence started coming to unfold, Then there was a National Assembly, then the first National Assembly. And the National Assembly was followed by a House of Chiefs at the federal level. Now the Yorubas had House of Chiefs to be their second house. The Hausas had, but the Igbo didn't have, because they didn't have an organized system. So by 1956, the Igbo started saying, no, we can't marginalize ourselves. If there is a second National Assembly, we should have our own. Then they now have the Council of Chiefs established in the East. So with those Council of Chiefs, the warrant chiefs now fizzled away because a political system has been built. So because the warrant chief system at the Eastern region now had a role to play at the governing of administration of local governments. So Agwata needed to have chiefs to be part of the governance at the local government. And then Achina at that point started thinking, but I hope you know that Ogbozome was the warrant chief of Achina during the indirect. I hope you know that. Yes, you should all know that for the younger ones. Ogbozome was the person selected to be the warrant chief here. And after him, then there was this need for communities to now fish out and present people as their chief, to be recognized by the government, because there is now an institution and a role for them. So that was when Achina now decided to search for who the cap fits. Precisely in 1960, APU, Achina Patriotic Union, headed by late Chief Ben Eze, appointed 3-man committee to do justice to search for who will be the Igwe of Achina, the first Igwe of Achina. And then the three-man committee were Dom Chuks Nwosu, Godwin Ezuko from Ebele, and then Ezuko from Umueleke. These are the 3 component villages of Achina. Let me get their names right. Yeah. Don representing Umuezi village, Peter Eze representing Umueleke village, and Godi Ezuko representing Ebele village. None of you know those guys. The only person you can know here is Peter Eze and Godi and Don Chuks. For some of you who are older who are as old as myself. How many of you know Don Chuks? Good. How many of you know Peter Eze? Mr. Eze? Oh, good. God bless you. You see? So these 3 men went in search. And at the end of the day, they recognized the Obi Ezeanwe in Eben should be the head of Achina community, that the Diopala of Achina community was traced to the family of Dim Ezeanwe. And the first son in that family was living in Aba, doing business. They now had to recall him to come back and take the title of Obi of Achina. He's going to be the head. The man initially refused, but when he was compelled to do so, he had to fold his business and came back and took the title of Obi of Achina in February 1960. That was our first traditional ruler. He was the first traditional ruler. But look at the problem there. Because when you hear about the ugly side developed teeth from this 1960. This 3-man committee that recommended that Job is the right person to take up that throne. Also, in the same document, said that after Job, he should rotate to another village, which is Umueleke. And then after Umueleke, he should go to Umuezi. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. They recommended that, look, Ebele should start, they are the first son, but he should rotate right around. He should not remain there permanently, even though they are the first son. Because when you have a first son, you are tempted to have a second son and a third son, and none is a slave to the other, true or false? So that was the position. But dirty politics came in. Umuezi village said they stand by that recommendation. Ebele village said, no, it is our right. We are the first one. We should keep it and keep it and keep it forever. Umueleke said, oh, we are in alliance with Ebele. We agree with them. They are the first one and they should keep it forever. So there was confusion. But Achina has a rule that out of the 3 villages, once 2 agree, it becomes the decision of the band. Do you understand me? Yes. So the 2 villages have now agreed that it should remain the same place. No movement. Ebele and Umueleke agreed that it should remain in Ebele forever and ever. For political reasons. Umuezi said no. A year na-aga-echi Job Igwe na February 1, 1960. Umuezi vụrụ ekwe jee n'orie kwụọ. Onye Umuezi ọbụla gara ebe a na-echi Job Obi ụwa eze na ha ya asụpụla na Umuezi. Unu arụgo maka ekwe nwanne n'ahịa. How many of you have heard about ekwe nwanne n'ahịa? This is the origin, and that is the ekwe nwanne akọrọ n'ahịa. So Umuezi ekwe nwanne n'ahịa. It became an issue. Well, they couldn't stop the 2 thirds that have agreed that Aga-echi Job Eze and it was actually done. The only thing is that Umuezi majority didn't participate for fear of being ostracized based on this on in the market. That was in 1960. But as fate may have it, the relationship between, you cannot see polarity. Umuezi staying on their own, and Ebele and Umueleke staying on their own. Working together. So division has set in. It became a problem for APU to function as a unit. That was the first dark phase in Achina. And unfortunately for Achina, 3 years later in 1963, Achina was invaded by their neighboring town, Agbo. Have you heard about Agbo Achina crisis? That's what happened. So when they now invaded Achina from Umuezi's side, Umuezi became handicapped. They cannot run to Obi to tell him, look, we are enemies are taking us over, because he didn't believe in him. So it became a problem. They now went and surrendered. Please come and help us. We can't fight this battle alone. Obi said he cannot sound the Ikoro without consulting Umueleke. These are people under war. The Obi now invited Umueleke. There was an emergency meeting for the first time in 3 years. Then in that meeting, Ebele and Umueleke said, find Umuezi. As ha ga-ebi ehi ukoro. Unu go maka ipi ehi ukoro. You haven't heard about it. As ha ga-ebi ehi ukoro. In other words, they were fined. The details of the fine you will not know. You wouldn't bother to know. they were fined. And they accepted to pay the fine. Then the other two villages now joined them to ward off aggression. Then the question now is that, having agreed to pay the fine, have they succumbed? Have they abandoned their initial position that chieftaincy has to be rotated? No. No. They said they didn't. The some said they did. By accepting guilt and paying fine, you have abandoned your whatever. But be that may be, that reconciliation or semi-reconciliation tended to have bring both APU, both factions together. They now started working. From that 1963, there was one-time union and headed by Ben Eze, like I told you, and many progress were made. And then behold, 3 years later, what happened? War came in. And the next war station is a state of emergency, isn't it? So that all administrative structures, public rallies, and all whatnot were what? Killed, were suspended because of the civil war. Everybody faced the civil war. So when the war ended in 1970, there was a lacuna, there was a vacuum. The question was, do those people who were there, do they continue, or do other new groups come and take over? The what age grade that emerged then was whom? Agha Nyeruche age grade. Agha Nyeruche age grade went to their meeting and agreed that they are going to take over the governance of the town. And elected Chief Godwin Nnaemeka to be the chairman of the caretaker committee that we are going to constitute. And good enough, the three villages came together to constitute that caretaker leadership. That was in 1972 or 3 about. Unfortunately, again, in 1976, the government brought out the chieftaincy edict that has now said, oh, communities, bring out people for us to recognize. Again, the person you are bringing must be popular, he must be selected according to the traditional usage of the town. The age grade, who now formed APC Caretaker Committee, went into their meeting and took a decision, including the three villages, to be honest with you. And what was the decision? That look, let me take it so I don't misinform you. Undisputably is the Obi of Achina and should remain so until death. That since the government is asking to recognize, identify and selected person as Igwe, the community should search for a vibrant, young and knowledgeable person with political guts and clout to attract government attention and intervention for the speedy development of Achina. That was their second decision. Both the Obi and the Igwe must work cooperatively, and the Igwe must always carry Obi along in all things, since both have a common goal and constituency. This looks beautiful, isn't it? It only sounds beautiful. Otherwise, what is the difference between Obi and Igwe? What's the difference? Huh? Nomenclature, semantic. So we thought a good job was done, but when Ebele went back home again, They were told by their elders that you came back with nothing. Just like the kind of Aburi Gowon went to Toju. There are people who told them that you came back with nothing. How can you say that we will remain Obi and then somebody else is Igwe? What's the difference? So in their next meeting, Ebele now said, their delegates said, no, what we agreed the other time, we will not agree again, no. So you see crisis. Others told them, but we have finished this, we have agreed on this. They said no. We better call Achina as a community so that a decision will be taken. In this hall, I was there as an undergraduate in 1976. And they were reading, Dodges was reading, Imobu was interpreting. And at the end of the day, we couldn't reach a consensus whether to remain with EDM position or to go with whether to uphold the recommendations of Aga Nyenuche leadership or agree with Ebele that there's no difference between Obi and Igwe. So what now happened is that there was a crisis. There was a crisis. Then the government of Atompera now appointed Abakoba panel. You heard when Igwe mentioned it. Now consider a panel of inquiry to go and find out actually whom they should recognize out of these two people, alongside with other towns that have similar problems. The panel of inquiry came. People from Ebele submitted their candidates and showed evidence. Then APU, now without Ebele, because what is now left is APU without Ebele, and that is what we call Eze. Eze now presented their own candidate with all his qualifications and all their evidences. Abakoba went back and recommended that they saw enough evidence that Obi Job Eze has been the Obi of Achina, and recommended that the governor should recognize him as so and give him certificates. And that was done in 1977. Government now recognized Job Eze as the Obi of Achina. And that is why the new constitution recognizes him as Eze Idegwu III. For those who don't know why Igwe is answering Eze Idegwu III. Eze Idegwu III is this man I've just mentioned now, who was Obi Job Eze Mwokwe. But the Eze didn't go to rest, even with that recognition. We thought the battle was over. They continued in their various petitions to say that no, that was a lot of injustice, that the person they recognized and gave certificate is not their choice, that something. Atompera, sooner than later, left. Then Habat Eze. When Habat Eze now came in as a new military administrator, he revived the issue and appointed Eze panel to go and review what Abakoba did and then call for evidences for people to submit whatever evidence they have. Unfortunately, while Eze submitted the same evidence they submitted to Abakoba, now EDM, because they now feel that they have upper hand, they already have a certificate, forgetting that the way a government operates, that this person can give you a certificate and the next person can revoke it. So because they already had the staff of office, refused to answer to the inquiry So the panel came, sat, waited for them to submit their decision. They did not go. The panel went and recommended that Obi of Achina, Job Eze Idegwu should be dethroned, and Chief Eze Idegwu III should be recognized as the Igwe of Achina. And the governor did that. He revoked the recognition given to Obi, Job Eze Idegwu, and recognized Igwe Eze Idegwu in August 1991. So I don't know whether to say that at a point we had Ezes, one recognized, one unrecognized. Now, Igwe MZC becomes Eze Idegwu II. Once he has certificate, once you have recognition and have certificate, you are the person government knows whether the people accept that or not. So from 1991 to 1995, Eze Idegwu was the Igwe of Achina. And that's why he says Eze Idegwu II. Does it make sense to you? Meanwhile, Igwe Job was there since he no longer has his certificate. He wasn't relevant anymore. But unfortunately, do you know who died first among the two? Igwe Eze Idegwu died in 1995. 4 years after his enthronement. Igwe Job was still alive, but he wasn't Igwe because his certificate had been cancelled. So from that time, Igwe Eze Idegwu died till the time when Igwe Job died in 1999. Achina had no Igwe either way. But the ugly side I didn't tell you too is that when Igwe Eze Idegwu died, EDMC went to court to sue the body. Do you know what they sued for? That Achina should not bury him as Igwe because they don't believe he was Igwe. It's not about whether you believe or not, but what government wanted. And they did this exactly when there was when the funeral was already fixed for Eze Idegwu, to bury Eze Idegwu. And his kids were coming from US and also, all over the place. And they just couldn't understand why that should happen. They now had a makeshift arrangement, and wherever they wrote His Royal Highness, they deleted it in their brochure and buried their father. That is how that burial was done. Then, incidentally, like I said, Job died in 1999, even though it was made public in 2000. And he was buried on 1st February 2000. But the beauty of the whole thing now is, by that time, by the year 2000, both parties were tired of hit me, I hit you. I can tell you from that period, both parties were in court for over 18 years, spending money that we used to develop this town, wasting money. So when in 1999, both parties then came together and I was elected a President General, I saw the need to not only to unite the warring factions for over 40 years, but to give a constitution that will address the issue. Because if the first Obi was elected with a constitution which he accepted, he cannot halfway say, no, it has to be Obotorabo. So the mistake is that they found a king without backing up with a constitution. So I promised my team that we cannot have a king until we have a constitution. Then we went in to write a constitution which was adopted in 2003. And that is the constitution Igwe was referring to here. So that is the ugly side of Achina. That was the birth of EDM, that was the birth of Eze and their death eventually. So the birth of ATU in 2000 now saw the need to have a royal father because the level ground has been created. The constitution has been agreed and signed. So the next thing is, with this constitution, we can now look for who will be the Igwe. And because Job Eze late was from Ebele and Igwe Mzexi was from Umueleke, logically and by common sense, the next Igwe should come from where? Umuezi village. So Umuezi moved to, Igwe ship now moved to Umuezi. And I want to tell you too, because I'm from Umuezi, when that was done, when that pronouncement was made, everybody in Umuezi wanted to be Igwe except me. Did you hear that? I said, when that pronouncement was made in 2003, that Umuezi should produce the next Igwe, every adult in Umuezi who had ways and means wanted to be Igwe except me. Don't ask me why I didn't want to be. Because for the 4 years I was the President General, I was acting on both capacities. And I saw the ugly side of it. There are times I will wake up from my house by 6 a.m. and over 20 people are waiting for me downstairs to start hearing their own problem. None of them comes to tell you anything other than their own problem. They now saw me as a solution to their problems. I can sit down, start settling disputes without eating, and nobody will ask me, have you had your breakfast? I will sit from morning till 2 o'clock listening to people. So when I got out of that office, I said, please God, thank you, don't take me back to that place again. I need to explain you so that you know that the Igwe is actually suffering. You need to go to his house. Every time, every hour, he is with people trying to resolve one dispute or the other. So that is the history of the traditional institution in Achina. But then give me like Chukwudi, I now want to. As you all know, Igwe was coronated on December. He was elected in December 2009. No, September 2009. Got certificated on 30th September 2010 and was coronated December 29, 2010, please. He got his certificate in September of 2010 and got the cap or the throne in December 29th. Actually, today ought to have been his 14th anniversary, but because it was Sunday, we decided to move it to tomorrow. Now, let's now assess him for the past 14 years. The 1976 chieftaincy edict I mentioned when I was talking gave a basket of responsibilities to the traditional ruler of the communities, and these are not limited to the following functions. 1, representation of his community on ceremonial occasions, receiving important visitors to the community, presiding at cultural festivals in the community, acting as the custodian of culture, custom and tradition, and advising the community on them, assisting in the maintenance of law and order in the community, taking steps to reconcile disputes arising, disputing parties in civic matters, whether or not such matters with the disputing parties brought to him for reconciliation are matters governed by law of the community, encouraging developmental projects in the community, assisting the state and local governments in the collection of taxes, promoting stability and peace in the community, attending meetings summoned by the chairman of the local government area from time to time for the purpose of consultation. These are the 10-point responsibilities given to Igwe by the government. And then the ATU concerned has also given him a responsibility of playing the father figure to all citizens of Achina, irrespective of their religious leanings, background, or village, in addition to summoning and presiding over meetings of the Igwe in council. And lastly, the 12th to be the chief security officer of Achina community. You can see that these functions are so loaded that it is enough to keep someone busy. And some of you who are close to the throne will agree with me that Igwe has covered his grounds very well on every sector of these responsibilities. Representation of ceremonial locations is always there, and he can move from Lagos to attend meetings in Agbata or anywhere, including Oka. Receiving important visitors to the community, he doesn't miss that. Residing at cultural festivals in town, and he came late here because he wanted to be part of what the Age Grade is doing today. Acting as the custodian of culture and customs. Of course, that he does very well. And by making sure that all our cultural groups are maintained, all age grades, homewater, and all whatnot. Assisting in the maintenance of law and order. He is the chief security officer, and he has zero tolerance to crime. He has brought too many developments in the town. Within this short period of time, Achina has seen massive developments, including establishing Peters University. The Peters University project would have failed if not for somebody like him, because there were issues. But he intervened rightly and made sure that all parties in dispute calmed down, and the project went on. Taking steps to reconcile disputing parties. There is no homeowner here that has not benefited from his dispute resolution abilities. Encouraging governmental projects that I have talked about, and then attending meetings summoned by local government chairman and governor. Being a father figure to the Achina. I hope you know he has an open door policy. His gate is open all the time. He has never chased anybody away from his house. And he has never demanded cola from anybody to resolve any issue for him. Presiding over Igwe in council, that he does very well. But let me now also tell you that with these responsibilities goes some privileges, isn't it? Having given you some jobs, you should enjoy some privileges. But the question now is that those privileges you're supposed to enjoy, is he enjoying them? That is actually the purpose of this talk. Are we fair to him? Because part of the privileges he's supposed to enjoy by ATU concern is he shall be exempted from all levies and dues, but any donations from him shall be graciously received. Igwe is not supposed to be levied. If the Council of Chiefs give levy to themselves, Igwe is exempted from that. If ATU gives levies, Igwe is exempted from that, because he's already carrying so much load on behalf of the community. So you don't expect that if you donate 1 million naira, Igwe have to bring 5 million before you can put another 1 million. No, the law exempts him from all levies, no matter how small they are. Then 3, in public functions and meetings, all present must rise on Igwe's arrival until seated, and same shall apply at his departure as a mark of respect to the office. All of you did well today, because I observed that you all stood up for the way he was coming and stood where he was going. So please let us continue doing that. We are not doing him a favor. We are only trying to be obedient citizens by doing exactly what the Constitution provides. And thirdly, the Igwe must not under any circumstances be publicly abused or insulted by any person or group of persons. I can't swear that we don't do this, because I know that there have been occasions where Igwe, in a way, in an attempt to resolve a dispute, we ask his secretary to go and put Omu here to avoid people from fighting on the matter. somebody may be agreed and go and remove that off and do what he wanted to do. There have been occasions where he will invite somebody to come. I got a report about you. Please come, let me hear you out. The person will say he will come and he will never come. Are those not insults? They are insults. I can give you a catalog of insults we have been heaping on him. And yet, that has not stopped him from doing the right thing. That has not stopped him from being the father figure which he has accepted to be. So, my dear brothers and sisters, I want to conclude this by saying Achina as a community, apart from the warrant chief of Obozobe arising from the indirect rule of colonial masters, has had three successive traditional rulers, though not in quick succession, as a result of chieftaincy crisis that lingered for many years during the dark ages of the community. The succession of these three traditional rulers followed the recognition of the order of seniority among the three villages that make up our Achina community. In other words, the first one is from Ebele, who is the eldest village in Achina. The second is from Umweleke, that's second son of Achina, and the third is from Umwezi, which is the current Igwe. The current traditional ruler of Achina Banyan, Igwe Godwin Obiora, the Eze Idegwu III of Achina, has the uncommon advantage of ascending the throne as a young man, and so far he is the first and the only Igwe Achina has a community. Achina as the only Igwe Achina as a community has selected as a consensus with three villages in total agreement of his candidature. Remember the first one, it was Ebele and Umweleke. The second one, it was Umweleke and Umwezi. But this one, it is the three villages. He has that singular honor, and that you can see, because it is a consensus of all, he is having a peaceful reign. He mentioned it when he was talking. Yeah, that's it. This confidence and trust by the community have motivated and propelled His Royal Highness into unimaginable strides since the enthronement. His reign has brought so much needed peace and development in the community, to the extent that our Achina community is gradually taking its place of pride in the locality. It is expected that with more cooperation from all of you and from all the citizens of Achina, His Royal Highness Igwe Obiora, through his activities and influence, will take Achina to the desired level of development in no distant time. Thank you for listening.
When I was talking, I told you people that there is no history about Achina. You're right. That is not okay. You see, when you look at Wote, he wasn't reading out from the text. He did. Those that has raised their hands, first lecture, second lecture is ready.
My name is Eze Idegwu. My question goes to Omenife. Those three main committees that were constituted to appoint or select or search for the first was Igwe or Obi. And when they said it should rotate from Ebele, Leke, and Eze, did they stipulate the length of time for the rotation? Or until the Igwe died? Sorry, the question was there a stipulated period?
Don't discuss replacing a living, isn't it? Any Igwe that is elected is a lifetime thing. You don't even talk about that. People believe that Igwe and one, but once in a while he can transcend to another level before we can look for a replacement.
Igwe on a better ofuma. However, so have there been cases like that? And what happens afterwards?
if I may understand your question, have there been cases of people disobeying him? Dispute. And he doesn't stop anybody from going further. If he settles a dispute and you are not satisfied and you go to court, you have a right to do that. He doesn't stop you from going to court. But if you go to court and the court invites him, he will still say what he said in his palace. Okay? Yes. He doesn't stop anybody from taking any case beyond.
Thank you. Yeah.
Amos, Chairman of Ofala Lecture branch. Ajumbo, and Achina, the role some group or some village play, Basara, ever somebody, but I tell about Asa, I don't know before, no way of that. But after somebody from Abba, for the business, as we are even told today again, on that of Chira, and we see all. He did that as what I did until what brought came the reason that you were sick a bit of police or about when they catch a boy after the war. Why did it continue? Then I let in at the road. Oh, well, like a plane, got too tight. That's one of the problem I'm with today. More going well. Because first one, I joined the second one, I joined the women's. The problem I have today, then have some I didn't have such problem. When they are they put what I have problem. And again, why should I say Igwe I think you were after 4 because I put you as a city something. I don't mind hearing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You see, I got the question of him and I'm going to have you. Ya uchi bụ ọgụ ama na ọgụ ebe chi gbogboro ọgụ ha na ka anyị ghara inye atụ ha. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's your okwu. Somebody raise hand.
Last question we have from other players.
Okay. It's your okwu.
No, I'm not asking you any question. From 2000, I've been in the government. So, my question is, we've got a booklet. Or the documented. If it is documented, because of want of time, I felt when you can be put it silent, you can then make law. Alright? Like when you do that, last ụlọ na-anụkwarị na a na-ebere na anaghị ebere ụlọ nụkwara nke ụlọ na ọ dị kọrent ndị lara na-ebe ụmụ ezi iyi ha lara ụmụ eleke laa ebele. That is the truth of the matter. Ụmụ ezi anọghị ha maka ha nọ be ha some of these problems do have happened with them ma ha bụrụ onwe ha. Yes. So ya were bụrụ ihe niile ka a ga-ekwuchi ebe a because of want of time. Urban and high school and hard copy. If they can put it in a soft copy for people, this one will not reach. They will do it for us. And a lot of things that is happening. Alright? What's not that I hear the local data? How about a bridge version? To me, no left my document. As still a young person. So we can at least for starting it off. I'll man them location also when they're back. Let's save time for those people who want to have money back. We've started. It's a good start. And I guess we improve on some of these things. And when you get there's room for addition and subtraction. From the zone angle, when there's some of the different angles. So because that alone, and I'm keep at the pipeline. That's my plea to them. Thanking the organizers for a job well done. Thank you. I remain Ichie Ofala J.I. Ofala Lecture.
Thank you, Ichie.
Achina kwenu. Achina kwenu. Achina kwenu. Biko, ana m ekele onye ọbụla. The first speaker, the second, the third. Ọ dịghị ofere. Dịka ọhụ ukwu si kwuo, ọ ya dị mma eme ihe a na hard copy. So a na-ere ya ndị ụmụazị ndị kara etolite amaghị ihe mere na Achina. Ọ na-agụ ya ọya history. So ụmụaka ahụ mara ebe ha bidoro na ebe anyị kwụsịrị na. Ana m ekele onye ọbụla bịara ebe a nọgide n'agbanyeghị na ọkụ adịghị ya nwee ndidi na ọ dịghị na ọ maka ọdịmma nke Achina. Ọ ndị ihe Achina na-amasị ka nọgidoro ruo n'oge ugbu a. Ana m ekele onye ọbụla. So anyị nwekwara another program na Igwe na mgbede a. So anyị ga-ekweta ekpere mmechi ka onye ọbụla gazitere ebe ahụ. Thank you very much.
Ezi Chineke dị mma, anyị kelee gị n'ọnọdụ agha na mgbede a. Kelee gị n'okwu ọma anyị ji bịa, kelee gị na ihe niile anyị gbara. Kelekwana gị in advance, ị ga-edu anyị.